Hi everyone, my name is Tiffany. I just wanted to put a disclaimer out there that this talk will center around my lived experience of an eating disorder. This is a photo of me when I was 17 years old. I was on a family holiday in Spain, just enjoying the sun, enjoying some good food, enjoying a break. Except, not really. This is a girl that was struggling with an eating disorder. I'd been dieting leading up to this holiday. I'd fallen into the trap of trying to get into that summer body. And I thought once I go on this holiday, I'll stop. Except it didn't. When I got back from this holiday, things went downhill pretty quickly. What was once dieting became an addiction. A few months later, I was diagnosed with anorexia nervosa, the deadliest mental health illness. Pretty much overnight, I'd gone from a normal teenager to someone who was in and out of psychiatric wards. I was in my final year of sixth form, a time that's meant to be about planning your future, not fighting for your life. On top of this, it was the COVID-19 pandemic. I couldn't see my family or friends, and I was sectioned. I couldn't just leave. I'd spent my 18th birthday in a hotel next door to the ward. I was allowed 2 hours to see my family on what was meant to be one of the biggest days of my life. You could say at this point I'd hit rock bottom. But here's the thing that isn't spoken about enough of eating disorders. Rock bottom can feel strangely comfortable. In a world that was so unpredictable, anorexia gave me some sort of control, or at least an illusion of it. Given that I'm standing here tonight giving this talk, you could probably guess that I have managed to recover from anorexia, and for that I am truly grateful. But it does bother me that to this day, not everyone recovers from anorexia, which is a completely recoverable disease. So I've been reflecting on my own journey, a journey that lasted many years, and what kept me stuck for so long, and how I pushed through. And it came down to the fact that I couldn't give myself the permission to change. And here's the thing with eating disorders. We seek permission from other people. Permission to eat. Permission to rest. Permission to recover. And without it, everything just feels wrong. And this kept me stuck for so long. Because here's the thing with anorexia. You're never going to get that permission. You're never going to be sick enough. It's never going to be the right time to start recovery. I spent years and years trying to get the validation to recover, to get the permission to move forwards. But it didn't come, because anorexia is amazing at stopping you from moving into recovery. So how did I move into recovery? So I'm going to say a quote now that, at the time, it frustrated me. And it's feel the fear and do it anyway. And this is a quote that is thrown a lot around in the media. And the reason why it frustrated me was because it felt oversimplified and almost cliche. But it was true. I had to feel the fear and do it anyway. Because when you're recovering from an eating disorder, you're letting go of control. And after holding this control for so long, not knowing if your actions are going to have good outcomes, it's understandable that it's going to feel scary. That fear is never going to go. And I think knowing this, in a strange way, offered some sort of comfort. Because I stopped waiting for that fear to go before I made those changes. And I acknowledged that it was always going to be there because uncertainty is scary. It made the fear feel more like a companion in the journey instead of a threat or a danger. Now, don't get me wrong. This isn't the deadliest mental health illness for no reason. Everyone will recover, and we wouldn't need CBT. But it was a big, big motivator for me to understand that uncertainty is scary for everybody. And I was fed up of living in a state of what if. What if I could recover? What if I had a life outside of hospitals? What if I took a chance at recovery and it all turned out okay? It's hard when you're in the depths of an eating disorder because all you can think about is the worst case scenario, everything that could go wrong. We have this black and white thinking. It's either amazing or it's just the worst thing that could ever happen. And now I look back and I think, why would I ever want to be there? But when you're living it, it just feels so comfortable. I am so grateful that I pushed through and I took a chance and I moved into that uncertainty. And when I talk to people now who are still battling an eating disorder, I always get asked the same question. Do you ever regret recovery? And I used to ask this all the time when I was unwell to those who had recovered. And I can tell you now, from the bottom of my heart, there is not one thing I regret about recovery, except for one little thing, and that's not starting sooner. I'm now writing a book called It's Never Too Late, and it reflects my experiences of recovering and how I felt like I didn't deserve to recover. It was too late. I thought I was 19 and I wouldn't be able to go back to school. I wouldn't get any qualifications. Yet I'm standing here on this stage, giving a TED talk at King's. Something if you told me back at the time, I would have just laughed. That seemed impossible. I mean, getting out of hospital seemed impossible. And I want to share my story as a message of hope to anyone who is struggling with their mental health or is going through a battle right now. I want to say that it will get better. I didn't think that change was possible. And to be honest, I think those around me had started to lose some hope. Yet I am here, choosing, living, and empowering others through sharing this experience, through research, through clinical practice. Lived experience is a powerful thing when it's used right. I had now celebrated my 23rd birthday, surrounded by family and friends, laughing, having fun, all things that seemed impossible. But because I took that chance, I was able to be here today. I was able to visit my family in Japan, something I never thought I would do again. Change is scary, and we don't know how it's going to turn out. But what we do know is if we don't take that chance, we will never know. So it comes down to one question. Will I give myself a chance? Thank you for listening.